What is up, BookTube? It is Monty, and today I'm back once again with another video. Today I'm doing a book haul. Now, in January of 2022, when I sort of gave myself the criteria of just purchasing one book a month, April felt like a good time to do a haul because at that point I will have been able to purchase 4 things, and 4 things seems like, enough. It seems like enough to throw up in a haul. And between January and today, I have acquired more than 4 books. Now, I have only purchased 4 of them, but some of these, and by some of these, I mean, well, aside from 2, the rest are all sent from publishers, and so I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed to have been able to receive some of these, and these are just the physical things. I don't ever really haul, like, my NetGalley requests or, like, my library books at this point. But of my own personal money, I have purchased 4 books, and I want to say that I have read all 4 of the books that I purchased. So I'm really happy. I'm going to start with the books that I read, and then, or that I bought, that I actually spent my hard-earned money on, and then we're going to move into things that were sent to me. We'll go finished copies and then ARCs. I think that's how we're going to do it. So the first book that I bought, this is actually not the first book. Let's do it that way. So the first book I bought was Cherish Farah, a novel by Bethany C. Morrow. I just read this last month. It was in that month's wrap-up. I will leave a link to that up in the cards. This is an adult, kind of a thriller, kind of like contemporary. To me, it did give Jordan Peele vibes. It's not horror. I was just watching somebody and they were like, anytime somebody references Get Out, they need to be like horror because Get Out is a horror movie. And like, this isn't horror, but I do think that it's horror in like a similar enough way. Kind of. It's similar. To me, it worked. Here we're following 2 close friends, Cherish and Farah, and the kind of complicated way that their lives weave together. This is definitely not a book for everybody, and it's definitely a book that I would recommend that you get from your library before you purchase. I popped the purchase before reading because it's Bethany C. Morrow, and I've enjoyed everything I've read by Bethany C. Morrow, and I didn't expect this to be any different. I don't think this is as well, to be fair, I don't think any of the books by Bethany C. Morrow that I've read are actually, like, universally loved. And so, like, this does fit into that trend of writing kind of divisive books. And overall, I had a really good time, so I'm not mad that I bought it. The second book that I purchased this year was House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I don't have the cover on this because I refuse to have Hunt looking at me. So I did go out and I got this one from Blackwell's. This came from Barnes & Noble. This was from Blackwell's because the spines on the US edition don't match, and that was bothering me, so my spines match. This has a whole reading... No, it does not have a reading vlog because I didn't vlog, but I did put up a standalone review, so if you missed that, I'll leave a link to that in the cards. This book is a hot mess express, but to be fair, it's also... In some ways, it's better than the first book, House of Earth and Blood, but in some ways, it's like the same problems that I had there. So a lot of people were really disappointed in this one, and I don't really understand why, because I do think that the same issues are present. I don't think that like there was really any difference between the two. And so if you really loved House of Earth and Blood, I really don't understand why you wouldn't like this one as well. Aside from the ending. What happens at the end, but that was also something that people really liked. So I don't really know what's going on there. To me, A Court of Silver Flames is still Sarah's best book, but no one's really asking me at this point. Then the third book that I bought is the only book that I hadn't read previous to purchasing. I mean, I guess I hadn't read... Well, with Bethany and Sarah, they were both authors that I had already read from, and so I was continuing on with a known entity. When I purchased The Red and the Blue, the 1990s and the Birth of Political Tribalism, which I also read last month, so I'll leave a link to that wrap-up. It's still up there in the cards. I hadn't read anything by Steve Kornacki because this is Steve Kornacki's only book. But I do like Steve Kornacki, and I trust him. And I said, you know what, I wanted to read this for a while. I don't ever see it. And it was at half-price books. So I didn't even spend... This book is $30, and I think I picked it up for like $14 or $15. It was a steal. This chronicles like it says, the 1990s, but we do start kind of in the 70s at the genesis of Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton. These are kind of the two political figures that we are looking at this time to sort of get the overview of how both of them ascended to the heights that they did in the same time period, and the kind of factors at work and everything that is that went into that, and how the 1990s really is kind of the blueprint for our modern political landscape and congressional gridlock. So I really enjoyed it, and also, just Republicans being stupid and saying things that are just they're lies. So this was a good time. I loved it. You love to read it. I do recommend it. The audiobook is what I listened to, and I had a good time with there. Steve Kornacki, unfortunately, does not do the audio. He does kind of his author's note and the introduction, but the actual, aside from what was his name? Mario Cuomo, as the Cuomos were real big in the 90s, because they're still big today, but the way that he pronounced Mario Cuomo's name, it was driving me crazy. And I couldn't tell if I was mispronouncing Mario Cuomo or the audiobook narrator is mispronouncing Mario Cuomo. Because the Cuomos are still very, they're prevalent. And I've never heard anybody else say Cuomo the way that the audiobook narrator did. But aside from that, it was a good little audiobook. And then my most recent purchase, that'll surprise nobody at all, is Portrait of a Thief by Grace Lee. This book is one of my favorite books of 2021. I read it as an ARC, and I'm not mad that I own this. I am mad that Illumicrate did special editions, and I know that I'm going to want I can't get the Illumicrate special edition because, the waitlist email did not come through. But if you are an Illumicrate subscriber and you do not want it, let me know, because I will purchase it from you. I will happily make that purchase from you. But yeah, this was a good time. I have a reading vlog, so I'll leave that linked in the cards. And 5 out of 5, best book of the year last year. Y'all need to go read this. Spoiler alert, the Choices is going on a hiatus after April, but I would not be surprised if Portrait of a Thief was a lovely Choices pick. So now I'm going to move on to the novels I'm going to start with the ones that were gifted to me by my subscribers. Who that person was, there wasn't a note in either of these that I can remember, but I might have already hauled one of these, and I thanked them. I don't know. But Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie, also one of my favorite books of last year. I think this was tied with Portrait of a Thief. This is a young adult contemporary. We're following our main character, Ophelia, as she kind of goes through a sexuality awakening and a reckoning, and we get to see her and her friend group, and they're just all adorable. And I love it, and I'm excited to see with what Raquel comes out with next. I mean, I know what's coming next because they've tweeted, but I'm excited to actually have it. But until then, I do recommend Ophelia After All. And then Xoxo by Axio. This is a K-pop music, progeny romance set in South Korea. So I will probably be reading this now that it's, springtime. Things are getting warm in the air, and I want something, that's going to be light and fluffy and fun to get through. And now we're moving on to things that were sent to me. Hopefully I will get to some of these. 2 of these that I'm about to talk about, I am currently in the process of reading or just finished, and I will be included in an upcoming video. So that's exciting. I'll let you play the guessing game down below. But first up, I have a finished copy of Renegade by Nancy Allen. This is the story of Kate Stone, who is a lawyer. I believe they're a lawyer. Yes, Assistant DA Kate Stone. And they were working on this case, and the judge is corrupt. And so the case gets dismissed or whatever. And then she's out on the front steps of the courthouse, and sis punches the judge. And so she gets sent to anger management instead of, getting anything whatever. But in her anger management classes, she and the other people in the class link up, and they start investigating this judge. And the judge is implicated in some real insane stuff. And maybe Kate is also implicated. I don't know. When I saw this is from Hachette. And so when I saw this in little request form, I said, I think that's it. Because I think I like legal thrillers and just general crime novels. So I think I'm making my way through the sort of like mystery thriller era, and I'm going to be able to just know the ones that are going to work for me, as opposed to just like, oh, it's a mystery thriller. I think I'm kind of knowing, because I know that I like domestic thrillers like the Liam Moriarty's, but I think the legal stuff is also going to be for me. I think this is also a legal thriller. This is Beat the Devils, a novel by Josh Weiss, and this is actually not a legal thriller. It is set in 1958, but President Joseph McCarthy is in the White House. So, interesting, because we all know that Mr. McCarthy was not a nice man. But we're following LAPD Detective Morris Baker, who is a Holocaust survivor and who drowns his fractured memories on the unspeakable in schnapps and work. And I'm assuming that that's all going to play in together. It's an inventive, page-turning crime thriller set in an alternative United States during the height of the Red Scare, with shocking parallels to America in 2022. Again, I saw crime thriller, and I think that's my lane, so I got this, and they sent me a lovely little finished copy. So if you too want to read this, there you are. I didn't realize that this is the second book in a novel, like in a series. I think that, again, because it's a crime situation, I might be able to read these out of order. I'm going to attempt. But I have The Match by Harlan Coben, which has some like really lovely raised detailing on this cover. And this is, what does it say? From the modern master of suspense comes a gripping new thriller in which Wilde follows a tip that may finally reveal the truth behind his abandonment, only to end up in the sights of a ruthless killer. I think I was reading somewhere when I saw that this was actually like the second book. The detective in this was like abandoned as a child, and so he's like raised by some other people. And I think in the first book he finds like a half sibling, and I think in this one he's like continuing his search for his family or something, and that dovetails into this killer situation. Again, it's the second book in a series. I didn't realize that when I was requesting, but here we are. I own it. It's pretty. Probably gonna read it at some point, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then have a couple of more things. So I have The Beloved Girls by Harriet Evans. This is coming out on May 10th. And here we are following a successful attorney who vanishes from a train station on the eve of her anniversary. Is it because she saw a figure, someone she believed long dead, or was it a shadow cast by her troubled, fractured mind? The answer is buried in the past. It lies in the events of the hot summer of 1989 at Vanes, a mysterious West County manor house where a young girl, Jane Lestrange, arrives to stay with the Grand Hunter family, and where a devastating tragedy will unfold. Over the summer, as ancient family ritual looms closer, Janie and Kitty, the eldest daughters of the house, will forge a bond that, decades later, is still shaping the present. I'm excited to read this. This, like I said, is coming out next month on the 10th. This is also coming out in May. I don't think this has I know it has a release date, but it doesn't say on the arc itself, and that is Kings of Beemore by R. Eric Thomas. Sorry, Mr. Thomas. Here we are following two friends. What are their names? Let's see here. I know one of them is Linus, which I think is unfortunate. Linus and Harrison. I believe it is Linus that's moving away. They used to go to the same church. They got real close. Now they're about to go into their junior year. They're trying to make some plans, but again, I think it's Linus who's moving with his father to South Carolina, and so it's like a time crunch novel where these two best friends spend like their last like week or so, the last few days that they have together in the city of Baltimore. Then I have Elsewhere by Alexis Shadekin. I should have Googled. All I know about this one is that it is kind of like a culty book, like cult vibes. So maybe it'll be interesting, maybe it won't be. I know that a lot of people really liked Saint X, or I saw Saint X a lot last year, like on Goodreads, just in my feed. So maybe this will get read. It's pretty short, so maybe if I ever try to do like a little weekend situation, that'll happen. Next, I have Natalie Jenner's Bloomsbury Girls, which is out next. I think it's a May release. Yes, another May release. Me and the May books. I just hope that, you know, they know that this book is not getting read by May. Is there a little inserty thingy which is going to give me an actual date? May 17th. This is on sale. Here we are following three women in 1950s London at a bookstore. So if you like bookish books, this could be for you. You're trying to like do some stuff. Then I have My Wife is Missing by DJ Palmer. This is the last book that I have to talk about today, and this is another thriller. Here we are following Michael, who comes back to the hotel room he's staying in on vacation with his wife and children. Only his wife and children are not in the hotel room. And we are also getting perspectives of Natalie, his wife, who has run away. And we get to find out why she's running away. What is she running from? What does Michael have in his past that would make her want to do this? And, you know, the police detectives who are also like, what's happening? What's going on here? So, this is out, I think, also on May 10th. Yes, May 10th. This is out. And this is from St. Martin's. And they also sent this lovely little teddy bear that's been chilling in my background. So, I have a little teddy bear. Thanks to them. And I like it. It's cute. It's a little situation. So I'm not going to try and lift all of these things up. But I am going to move them so that it's not just randomly kind of in the viewfinder. But those are all of the things that I have received, that I have acquired since the beginning of the year. Let me know down below how you're doing, if you are also on a book buying restriction. We're going to bring back the emojis because I feel like I had better engagement when I was telling y'all to drop an emoji. So, if you've made it to the end of the video, go ahead and leave me this emoji in the comment section below. If you don't have, you know, any bookish Holly things that you want to share. I'm looking forward to seeing that down there. And I'll see the rest of you guys in another video. But until then, and until next time, bye.